Hey everybody, today we'll do another video, and today we will do something that is very interesting. Well, I found it very interesting, right? Okay, so this is what this little thing, or whatever, beautiful, I would say, the beautiful thing about mathematics, right? Sometimes it really, really makes sense, right? And this is the whole purpose of it, right? When you do something, you enjoy it, right? And you make sense out of it. That's all that matters. It's something that's called inductive reasoning, right? So when you see something like had a pattern on it, right? You think and say, "Oh, this makes sense." Right? But why this makes sense, right? For example, right? Let's say that you add the first two odd numbers, right? Out of the sequence, in the sequence. The first two odd numbers, right? You add the first. Or let's say that you want to just, okay, let me just do this different. Okay, let's say that you want to add the odd numbers and you want to see a pattern, right? You want to see something that is making sense, right? So add the first odd number, right? Just count it by yourself, right? Okay, so 1, right? 1 is equal to what? 1 is equal to 1, right? Then, right, it's just 1, right? Then you said, okay, so you said 1 plus 3, right? So 1 plus 3. So in other words, and let's say that you want to prove that the sum of this, each sum of the squares, right? For example, 1, you start with 1, right? So 1 squared is 1, right? So 1 squared is 1. Then you said, okay, so 1 squared is 1, but then the next one is going to be 4. And the next one is going to be, actually, okay, so let's say the first number is 1, right? So then you add the next odd number. The next odd number is 3, right? Then you add 1 plus 3 plus next odd, which is 5, is equal to 9. Then you add the next odd number, all right, which is 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7, and that is equal to 16. You see that? What you getting is that if you add the consecutive odd numbers, it will give you the perfect squares. Isn't that beautiful that every single number you take the square root of that is 1, you take the square root of this, is 2, you take the square root of this, is 3, you take the square root of that, is 4. So in other words, we see something right here, right? So let me do the other one. So let me do this next one, and then I will write a program that calculate this. So, okay. So so the next one is going to be 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7, right? And then the next add, which is the one that we previously have right here, right? Which is amazing, right? And then we add the 9 to it. And then we get what? We get 25, isn't it? Now, you see something right here. You see something. See, the first one is odd. The second is even. I'm talking about a square, right? The third one is 9, which is odd, then even, back again, and then go back to add. And the next one is going to be 36, isn't it? You add this is going to be 11. The next odd number is going to be equal to 36, isn't it? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop right there, right? And do something. Okay, so what we see here. So in this case, we see 1 square. Over here, we see 2 square. And over here, we see 3 square. And over here, we see 4 square. And of course, over here, we see 5 square, isn't it? Isn't that beautiful? Okay. Now what I wanted to do is write a small C++ program that will be able to calculate this stuff. Right? Okay. So let me go to Visual Studio and do the little C++ program. All right. So let's start here, and let's start with a brand new project. Let's start with an empty project. And let's go to next, create, and let me put it square. Square sequence. Right, just like that. Just like that would be fine. Okay, so we hit create, and then we want to save. Yes, we want to save the whatever we had. Okay. Okay, now we go to project, we add a new item, we add this, right? Add that. Okay, so here we can say this program will output the sum of odd numbers right? As perfect squares, right? So, okay, so let's do it. So we said include and we do IOStream. Right, stream. Right, then we do using name space std, right? And do int main, and we do bracket, right? And over here we just declare the variables. So we said declare object. Right? So now, beautiful. We're starting, right? Okay, so in this case, so we need to declare some variables, right? And maybe we just need 3, right? If we need more, we can actually see, but, right? So let's say that we want to do int. We're dealing with integers, so we're not taking the square roots of anything. We don't need doubles. We don't need any decimals in this situation. So just make it simple. So okay, so let's do int, right? And this, let's do sum. Let's do sum odd, right? Sum odd, right? Next, we do int, and then we do minimum. We do min odd, right? Right? We do min odd. And just to make it sure, we can set this equal to 0. Oops, 0. And that equal to 0. And we can say that this is int. Okay, max number. That number can be odd or even, doesn't matter, right? Okay, so let's make, because the first one is going to be 1 anyway, so let's make this 1, right? Oops, 1. Then we can, what we can do here to follow, and so we can say cout something, right? Cout. We want to prompt the user, cout, enter a number greater, greater than 1, right? Okay, so, and we just end in the line, right? Next, we so we have a number, right? And you need to enter. Then we actually do cin, right? Cin, right? And we do max. So we take that, just put it right there. So, oops, okay. Okay, so never mind. Okay, it's interesting that you're trying to copy only part of the text sometime, but it actually copied the whole thing. But anyway, okay, so we see in the max number, right? And that number is going to be greater than 1, obviously. If we enter 1, it's going to be just 1 and not going to make a lot of sense. But anyway, so let's do a for loop for set up a counter, right? And we do this guy, right? And we do that guy in here. Okay, so we know that that's equal to 1, the first one, right? Now, I'm going to generate a loop that adds the sums, right? And it's going to be working. I think it's going to be working pretty nice because it will be adding the sum of each odd, the sum, and you will see the squares. Okay, so in this case, we will have what? We will have minimum number, right? Which is that. So we can say min. We can say min add, right there. And then that is less or equal to max, right? Max. Max num, right? And then we add min add again, right? We're not adding, we're just incrementing by 1. That makes sense. That really makes sense, right? So I hope it does. So we just increment that by 1, right? Now, we need to do something here, right? We need to check every time that there's an add number to it. So in order to do that, we use an if statement, right? And we say if min add, right? If min add modulus 2, okay, not equal 0, right? Means not equal even. If it's not even, right, then we do something, right? If that is not even, then we actually declare another object here, right? That is called sum add, right? It will be sum of the other numbers. So sum add is going to be here. And basically what we do is say it like this, right? Sum add, right? Well, what is going to be equal to sum add? We want the sum add to equal 1, the first one, right? But I already said that sum add is 0. Well, yeah, of course, I want the sum add to be 0, the first one. But then I am going to add 1 to it, 0 plus min add, right? But again, so I gotta do it like this, right? And then I gotta say sum add again, because the sum add is going to be taking a place eventually here. So sum add, right? Plus min add, right? So this is what happened. So if this is add, right? If this is add, then it's going to check, right? It's going to check, is this add? Yes. Then it's going to be equal to what? It's going to be sum add. The first one is going to be equal to 0 plus 1, right? Which is going to be 1. Next is going to increment it by 1. Then this is going to be 2. Well, if it's 2, then this is not going to do anything, right? Because it's an even number, right? Then it's going to be equal to, then it's going to come over here and add another 1 to it. And this remained, okay, so if this is incremented by 2, this remain 1. Then it will increment that by 2. I'm sorry, it's going to add another one to it. Well, initially, that was 1, right? But then eventually that is going to be, so the first one was 0 plus 1 is 1, right? Add 1 to it. It's going to be 2. Check over here, not going to do anything with 2 because this is an even number. And I will have basically a remainder of 0, right? So then the next one is going to be 3. And then it's going to say, okay, so there is 3 in there. I have a number that is not equal to 0, which means it's not even. If it's not even number, then add 1 to it. I'm sorry, add 3 to it, right? Then min add is going to be 3, but this was 1. See that? So then it's going to be 4. Right? So 1 plus 3 is going to be equal to 4. And okay, so here it will do 1, be 1, and then plus 3, right? Equal 4, right? In the second iteration. The first iteration is 1. The second iteration is actually 4, right? Now, so actually, no. Let me get it back, right? The first iteration we know is 1, right? The second iteration is 2, so we will not do anything. The third iteration is going to be actually this. When it's incremented to 3, then it's going to be equal, the sum is going to be equal to 4, right? So now, so here, let me see. Make sure that I get return 0 somewhere. Return 0, right? So, okay, so next, what I can do is inside this, right? Inside this loop, I can actually say, okay, so if that is the case, okay, then I can say cout the sum is, right? And I will say it like that, and I will make it like this, and maybe a little space in between. And inside of the space, I put another one, and then I will include this, right? So I will include that, so that it will be just here. Okay, now I add another. So it's going to output whatever number, up to whatever number is entered in this for loop, right? So it will prompt the user to enter some number. The user will enter that number, and it will just do whatever is necessary to, to calculate the sum, which will be the squares, right? The sum of the odd numbers is going to equal to some type of squares, right? That's what we proved when we did it in Guido, right? So by, doing the math by hand, right? Okay, so the sum of the odd number, oops, numbers is, right? Okay, so let's run this. Okay, so let's enter a number, right? Let's enter the low number first. Like, let's enter maybe 10, right? We know that the highest odd is going to be 7, right? Right? And here you go. So now you can see that this number right here, right? So we have the first odd, right? Second, right? And then the highest odd is what? It's 9, and that's why we get 25. See that, right? So up to here, the 7, the highest odd is 7. Up to here, the highest odd is 7. Up to here, the highest odd is obviously 9, because the highest number that we went in the loop is 10, isn't it? So, isn't that beautiful? Okay, so let's do, let's put another number. Let's do 50. Let's do 50 to see. Right? Look at that. So, as you can see, you got a perfect square. You got it, right? You got 1, 3, right? 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 7. All right, 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 5 is 9, plus 7, 16, right? Plus 9, 25, plus 11 is 36, right? Plus 11 is 36, plus 13 is 49, right? And plus 15 is 64, right? And so forth, right? And this is beautiful because I think that it really, really makes a lot of sense, right? Because you can actually do this, you know, like the program that I did last time too. Last time I separated the squares, right? The square from the even, but you can actually do the same thing, right? Using the power formula. So it's pretty neat, actually. It's pretty neat, right? So, and then you can actually go, just checking through. See, you can see here that this up to here, right? So you got 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. See that? So 1, 2, 3. The first 3 odd is 9. And then the fourth odd is 16. The fifth odd is 25. And just go. And the sixth odd is actually, in this case, right? It's 11, isn't it? And then the seventh odd. It's interesting what is going on here. But anyway, so that's it, guys. That's it for today. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, please just give me a like. And I will see you in the next video. And remember, we are over here at the Conservative Engineering Academy, which our model is that Jesus is good. And because Jesus is good, we are able to learn something every day. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.